the entire narrative of this will be pretty much news driven, that certain narratives that are a bit negative may cause people to sell even more. But if you notice it, over the weekend the cryptocurrency market was down, but if you look at it from yesterday, it started to somehow head towards the green. It started to rebound. We saw a lot of the major altcoins and even the game related stuff to start to open. So my food's here. Hey guys, so I'm having a very late lunch, and I don't know, while I'm waiting for my food to come in, I just want to share some of my thoughts and my insights on what I believe could possibly happen also because of this new variant that's coming out as well. But as you all know, no one has a crystal ball to see how this could possibly play out also, and no one could precisely predict on what specific landing spot the PSEI would be. But if there's one indication of what we're currently seeing is that Monday, we currently saw a large sell down, and I said it in the previous video that this is brought about also by uncertainty. So please remember that by the time I'm making this video, even the World Health Organization disclosed that it's still too early to tell what will be the general effect of this. How fast can this actually infect people? Is this actually deadly, or we don't know it? There's still more questions than answers. And similar to what I mentioned also in the previous video, that every time there's more questions than answers, that equals uncertainty. And every time there's uncertainty, you have also bits and pieces of people who want to take money off the table. And that's what I've mentioned earlier, when they take off money from the table, meaning either some of them are taking profits or some of them barely made money, but they're just wanting to stay liquid, wanting to stay in cash to further also protect them. We will see some sort of hesitation also over a period of time until there's more clarity also in this. But that being said, I want to say this. Remember what I've been talking about over the past few months, and even when we started this entire lockdown, that maximum fear, maximum uncertainty, maximum upside. That being said though, even though that this is something that's a bit negative, we are not at the point where there's maximum fear, because at the end of the day, this entire pandemic, this lockdown, the greatest fear was in March 2020. Right now, these are just items so that somehow, some way could add a bit of bearish sentiment. And now, there are people who have been sending questions that when can we enter also, since we've seen the markets, at least generally for 2021, do very well. So this could be an opportunity also for you. Should the uncertainty cause selling, that it continually goes down and it subsides at a certain level, that could be an area already for you to start to pick things up. I want to say this very well to all of you, is that the entire narrative of this will be pretty much news driven, that certain narratives that are a bit negative may cause people to sell even more. But if you notice it, over the weekend the cryptocurrency market was down, but if you look at it from yesterday, it started to somehow head towards the green. It started to rebound. We saw a lot of the major altcoins and even the game related stuff to start to open. So my food's here. I really don't document what I would eat and my food, but ayan guys. So the ramen made me sweat. It was so hot, but okay lang, let's continue and let's go back to what I was saying. I guess the biggest thing about the cryptocurrency market is it's 24/7. It got the brunt of all of the selling as well, all of the sentiment, and people always talk about Bitcoin as a hedge towards gold and towards other asset classes. But here's the thing, and here's the reality of how it has also been going over the past years that I have at least been tracking it. It somehow follows still the US markets, meaning when you have downward volatility in the US markets, you're also experiencing downward volatility in the cryptocurrency markets as well. And then we also saw that somewhere around June this year when we saw the crypto markets drop. But while that was all happening, the US markets, it was relatively down as well. So that's one thing to note, that whatever uncertainty that we have from a global perspective somehow will also affect the crypto market as well. Since it's still early on how we can actually see on how this could possibly go and the entire narrative of all of this, there will be days that as part of normal volatility that we see the markets up. There will be days also that we'd see it correct down as well. But what's highly important for people to check out and I cannot stress this enough also, is the technicals. Meaning, focus on the trend. It actually means that when you're looking at a crypto that's still in a long-term uptrend, whatever news that you would see would bring it down possibly close to a support. In the same way, that's the same narrative also towards US stocks and even the Philippine markets, that downward news may bring it closer to the support. And that could be a somehow make or break point also for you as an investor to watch out. Why? Because as it hits a support, should it bounce, then it gives us confirmation that whatever news about the new variant has been factored in. People saw that level where it started to bounce as an area to buy. It's an area where we actually saw it start to push up as well and start to head on higher. So that's what I'm trying to say. Areas like that, corrections because of sentiment and uncertainty, it starts to drop. But as it hits a level of support and it bounces, that could be an area to reposition, add, accumulate, or somehow, some way also hodl if you own the position and not actually panic. Please do remember this, that this also works not just for people who are investing, but also for people who are following the trend. Why? The money is in the sitting. The money is when you know what you're doing in spite of volatility, in spite of fear, in spite of whatever FUD that has been thrown out as well. And that's what I think is so relevant. That's what I think is actually better. Because when you're looking also at cryptos, the charts are relevant. The charts are so important because it shows you from a macro price sentiment perspective what the prevailing trend is, what the prevailing sentiment is. And please remember, technical analysis is market psychology plotted into charts. And that actually means that when you see people buying at a certain level, that also means that in spite of the fear, in spite of the uncertainty, in spite of the doubt, that people are actually buying and they think it's really cheap at that point, factoring in all the possible fear that's out there. And from an investment standpoint also, that already is a sign also for you that when it hits a level that, okay, I want to buy it here, in spite of the fear, in spite of the possibility of decline, and then you start adding, you start stacking, then it also forms some sort of base. We have to see how contagious it will be, how deadly it is. Is it something that, okay, it could spread easily, it could spread faster, but it may not be as harmful. Please do remember, right now, in some portions of the world, especially in Europe, in North America, a lot of them are back to normal. A lot of them are doing things, living their life somehow closer to where it was prior to the pandemic. But I've seen news reports that a lot of countries are shutting their borders down to Africa. I've seen a news report that Israel is shutting down its borders as well to travel. So things like that, somehow, no, it doesn't just affect the economy, but it also affects sentiment. And from what I've seen also right now is comparing it to the Delta variant, a lot of people have been saying that this is somehow spreading faster. I still have to confirm that though, but from what I've read and seen, that's somehow a prevailing theme. If this is not watched out closely, there's a possibility also that we might end up similar to what happened late last year, early this year. As what you can see right here, there's more people already also going out. And it was also the same scenario last year that there were more people already going out as well. And what we need to realize is what the current vaccines could actually do up against this new variant. I think that's a very, very important narrative, because if the vaccines will work against it, then somehow it gives us a security blanket. But if it doesn't, what we don't want is larger and stricter lockdowns, because we're seeing this variant cause havoc and a lot of people are getting sick, and a lot of hospital beds are also getting somehow used up, which was the case at the start of 2021. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this to cause an alarm to everyone, but from an investment standpoint, it's something that we should watch out for. And that's what I've been saying over and over also, that things to watch out for that could cause sentiment to shift, it's still pandemic, it's still the lockdowns, and it's still the vaccines. But in our variation and our iteration right now, it's basically, will we lock down because of the new variant? How harmful is the new variant? And will the vaccines work up against it? And it always will go back to what your strategy will be in all of this. Meaning, if you're a dividend investor and the stocks that you wanted to buy just dropped and the dividend yield becomes attractive for you, then it's an opportunity to stock. The same way, for some of the companies that are up na you were not able to buy already also before because they have been relatively higher, this becomes an opportunity also for you to add them at lower prices. But again, just a heads up also, you don't want to catch them while they're dropping, falling. Of course, no one can spot where the bottom is, no one can pinpoint exactly how low it could possibly go. But what matters is you don't just buy it because it's low, but it's under an acceptable price range already that's considered cheap to you. Or if you're using it from a support and resistance perspective, it's somehow close to the support is holding, or it's also starting to bounce back once again. The worst thing that you would want to do is to panic in times like this. The worst thing that you would want to do is to be scared and act based on emotions, because the more you become emotional, the more you get to decide, and the more you would somehow deviate from your logic and strategy, and we don't want that to happen. What we want is for this investing and trading journey for you to be sustainable. It should be something that you get to do. Good market, you're not emotional. Bad market, you're not emotional as well. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. This is Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. Comment below, guys, if you have any questions, if you have something else to add, or you have anything. I want to do some stocks by request chart sessions once again, so just put it down below and I'll try to make them also for you as well. So see you all again soon, and God bless you all.